Well, so this is Will Parrish, Code of the Streets. Who's colder than me? And we're going to write some code. Honestly, at the end of the day, what I finally realized, and that's why I'm recording this right now, but keep it real, I want to document my process, my development as a developer. I want to find out over time what it is that I learned, and I'd like to reveal that process to everybody so that people that look like me can realize that they can just, if they want to, they can just grab a marker, a whiteboard, grab that motherfucking board, wipe the marker, put some, don't have to be graffiti. It could be code, and that code could bring you that cold hard cash, that cold hard cash. Code of the streets. Who's colder than me? A cobra is he, serpentor forevermore. Dirty horse. I thought I told you boys before. Bring in your roar. Code of the streets. So what's an algorithm? That's the first lesson, right? And why should you care? You know, in school they teach you this. And you start plugging in those values. What they don't teach you is how those are being used, those symbols. That's a primitive. That's an operator. This little box, eventually you'll learn that that's a variable. You see, you were taught that stuff, and they didn't care if you understood it or not. But all across the world, especially for the children of the wealthy, what they were teaching their children was the beginning of programming. This is algebra. An algorithm is this guy's, it is direct, it's his cousin, it's his nerdy cousin, right? An algorithm is a process by which we arrive at a predetermined outcome. Every time. You see the similarity here? This is an algorithm in the sense that you have a rule using agreed upon symbols. We carry out operations to arrive at a predetermined outcome. A predetermined outcome every time. Using agreed upon symbols, we carry out operations to determine the value we place in a box. That's an algorithm, an approach to creating a value. And what value are we creating? Well, here you learned as a child this algorithm, that if you take one number, a plus symbol, another number, and an equal symbol, then inside of here you can write your outcome, the agreed upon outcome. That's what an algorithm is. It's a set of rules that you create to find, or to get to an outcome, or to create a truth, find truth. What we're going to do at Code in the Streets is show you how to write algorithms. And I'm going to learn more about it as I go. You're going to see me, just like right now I'm just freestyling, you know, just making it up. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't even know why you're watching this or why you're listening to me. Okay. Code of the Streets, Code of the Streets. Who's colder than me? Colder than me. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just teach you little hood rats how to write code so you don't have to sell crack. Because I'm tired of seeing your dusty asses on the corner selling crack. I'd rather see you locked away in a room writing code. Okay? And then you can go and you can make money and you can buy your Porsches and your fucking your Gucci and you can do your shit that you do with it. And you can do all that. So, what I think might be best, in terms of the full disclosure and honesty process of what I'm going to bring to the table to show you how to write code, because nobody's showing you how to write code. They're all just walking around talking a bunch of bullshit, showing you dumb ass React loops and... You want to talk code, you want to get silly, you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. So what we'll do is we'll open up math book and we'll look inside of it and we'll realize we don't have to wait for the teacher to show us how to do it. And what the hell is this thing I don't know with it upside down symbol. We can teach ourselves and go at our pace. We can take over the fucking world, right? Math. Think about it. Think about it. Think about that. Think about this. If you think that I would miss, well, I'm fast. I only hit the center mass and head. I'm special ed. Funkadelic relic of the ages. If you like this, then I got pages and pages. Alright, so a random page in the math book. This is Doug Apowski. It's a great book. It's a fetching summer read. You should get your copy, okay? And we're going to look at Doug Apowski, and on page 235, applications, rectangular patio. The rectangular patio, yes. We will dine and sip Chardonnay and discuss the finer things in life. Yes. Yes. So the length of the rectangular patio is 12 feet greater than the width. If the perimeter is 84 feet, then what are the length and the width? Beautiful. You don't even know. Some of you motherfuckers are just, you're going to watch this, and then 10 years from now, you're going to watch this. That's random ass, little dumb ass question I just pulled out of a fucking hat, and you're going to realize it's a great programming problem to think about. I don't even know what the problem is. That's the first thing, okay? I read it, but did I actually pay attention to what it asked me? Was I really thinking when I read it? So how do I fix that? How do I fix that? The first step for algorithm creation, holy freaking Christ, okay, is you are an instrument. Your mind and your body are one, okay? So if you're going to get to the heart of the question, okay, if you're going to get to the goddamn heart of the question, you got to take a pen and you got to write the question at least once. That's the heart of whiteboarding. Even in any interview that you wind up, you walking into Microsoft, Google, Instagram, your own company. What you do is you grab a marker. Grab one of these right here, right? One of these joints right here. And you write the problem. Okay? Don't listen to all the little turbo nerds doing it in their heads. Okay? I want you to write the problem. This is the first step. I do know that. Some of this stuff, I'm just making it up. I'm telling you the real shit. Code of the streets. First, get a marker that motherfucking works, right? Alright, so, boom. I be that insane nigga from the psycho world. I'm on the trigger. Plus, I got the Wu-Tang sword. So how you figure you could even with mine? Hey yo RZA, hit me with that one time. The length of a rectangular patio is 12 feet greater than the width. I think this is gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. I think I'm gonna have fun, man. Y'all gonna write some code, niggas. If the perimeter is 84 feet, then what are the lengths? And width. Alright, couple things, right? Couple things. Now that I wrote it, I combined my breath, my mind, and my body through a pen on a board. I could step back and look at it. I could start thinking. So alright, so here's another part of algorithms and modeling problems in general, right? And this is something that I want to show the smart people. This is a secret of the smart that they will not reveal to you dumb motherfuckers, but I'm gonna tell it like it is. This is what a smart person would do, okay? You say rectangular. I guess maybe I'll do that, and then that, and then that, and then that. Right. So what they start to do is they start creating models of the data. By creating a model, your mind can link onto something. This is a bunch of symbols. It has no meaning. Who cares, right? But when you see something like that, my nigga, you know what I'm saying? You see a brick, son? Now you know. Now you come to the streets. So create a model. I hear rectangle. I'm drawing a rectangle. Right, I'm drawing more stuff on the paper. I know my mama looking over my shoulder like, what you doing writing all on the paper there, boy? How much paper costs out this motherfucker? Draw a fucking rectangle, okay? So that way you can fucking see what you... Alright, the length of a rectangular patio is 12 feet greater than the width. And here's why this is why smart people draw. Right now, what you have inside of here And let's go back to programming for a second. I realize I got something bigger I got to do now, but let's go back to programming. When you're writing code, just like we talked about earlier, where 4 plus 3 is equal to this, and I said that this was a variable. The way a computer remembers code, is by taking values and putting them in variables. So when you start to look at this up here, the variables are the same thing that they are or would be in an algebra class. Remember that link between algebra and algorithm. Your variables you're finding in the middle of your statements. They're the values that hold quantities, that express quantities. Right? Measurable quantities. So in this case, my variables, and I'm not sure what I'm going to use, but I can take them from the problem. And this is how you start to write code. If you can take a problem that someone has, write it so that you can graph it and turn these things into objects that then you can put here, that's when people start taking notice, right? You know, so that's what I want to give to you. Width, variable. Length, it's a variable. Perimeter, these are variables. 12, that's a special kind of variable. You know, in algebra, your variables are one letter. X, A, X1. In programming, your variables are words, but they do the same thing. X can equal 3 at the end of your problem. And that's what your teacher made you do, is square it off, right? So X equals 3. In algebra, you find the value of the variable. In algebra, you find the value of the variable. In algebra, you find the value of the variable, right? It's a hunt. With computers and with algorithms, you determine what the values are. You say, I want its width. But you actually say, and now I'm going back to the problem, but you say that length is equal to width plus 12. The width, that's what we're looking for. We don't know that yet from the problem. The perimeter, the problem tells us, is 84 feet. In algebra, you would say something like x and x plus 12. Now see, one of the powers of programming and the power of algorithms is, you may even be seeing it right now, is the clarity that you can bring to the table when you're writing algorithms and you're programming code. Over here, we're using English. Over here we got a bunch of X's, which throws people off. What the hell does that X mean? And you know what? If you're a programmer and you got a bunch of X's and Y's, they tell you you're a bad programmer. But you want variables that make sense. You know what's great? This is what a programmer does. This is actually it. This is actually it. It doesn't matter how complex the program gets. Basically, an algorithm is basic algebra, and a programmer is just filtering information until he gets to a final outcome that he's looking for, trying to find a way to solve the problems. This is actually the same as this. Width plus 12. And let's say width. Right? Another thing. Okay, here's another thing. Edit. Edit your whiteboard. Make it look nice. Have some respect for yourself there, boy. Pull your pants up. Because when you come back to this later, you're going to want to make it make sense. You're going to want to know what the hell you were even trying to say. Now, the problem tells us that this entire area around here, the perimeter, is equal to 84. So what does that really mean? Well, let's take this and put it down here. And let's take this and put it up there. And what do you have? You have 4 widths plus 12 plus 12 is equal to 84. 4 widths plus 24 is equal to 84. And you know, your teacher always wants you to skip steps. Why are you writing all that stuff? Jesus Christ, you know the cost of chalk for the school board? Good God. Where do you think you are, nigger? No, I can't say the N-word. I'm not going to say the N-word in my videos. Just that one time. And let's subtract the 24. That equals 60. And so widths is equal to 15. We now know that width is equal to 15. That length is equal to 15 plus 12. Right? And you can rewind the video if you, and then that is equal to 27, right? And so how many lengths do we have? We have 2 lengths. How many widths do we have? We have 2 widths. What's that equal to? That's equal to the value of perimeter. Alright? So what does that mean? That means that 84 is equal to 2 times 27 plus, we have 2 widths, 2 times 15. So let's just check that. Does that sound right? 84 is equal to 54 plus 30. For me, that checks out. And when we're going through all of this and we're just looking at the numbers, none of this even fucking makes any fucking sense. Like, where did I just go and why? I don't know. But you know what happened as I did this and just examined it and tore it and turned it into different parts and found new ways to rewrite it? When I look back up to the question that I just forgot about, I just, just in the world of numbers and variables, what it asked me was, if the perimeter is 84 feet, then what's the length and the width? What are the values? And somewhere along the line, I found out that the length was 27 and the width was 15. Created this little map just to get to the point where I go like this and like this. So now what do we have? And what in the hell does this have to do with whiteboarding algebra problems? I have this nice, beautiful map of different ways to model the problem and present the data. So here's how it works when you're writing code. And I almost made a fatal error of erasing data. Here's another thing, so another practical part. This is the thing that they don't show you. You're not going to see it in the Google 100 interview questions to get to work in Google. No, you're not gonna tell you to slow the hell down, pull out a phone, and take a copy of the data that you just created, right? But do that. You're not gonna be able to. You could do it during the interview, maybe. I have no clue. I've never been on a whiteboarding interview. That's what we're working on, showing you the growth, codes of the streets. Because you know what I mean, who's going to hire me anyway, right? I got to keep it real, you know what I mean? They don't want somebody that's going to be fucking phony, right? This is what I do. It's how I get down, son. Right. So take a photo, right? With your cracked ass phone, little crackhead cricket account phone. Take a photo. Document the process. This is valuable information to have when we take it to the next level. And what's the next level? So I showed you how to find a word problem. I showed you how to turn the word problem into a model. I showed you how to present the data to yourself in multiple ways, writing all over those expensive sheets of paper that your mama bought, that you stuffed in the book and told you stop drawing comic book Spider-Mans 50 fucking times, right? So you have all that information and you want to know, what do I do with it? What is programming? So let's talk about it. We have already been talking about it a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about just storing information and then using it. What I'm about to use is called pseudocode. It's a very informal way of writing how a computer reads information. A computer is like Johnny Five, man. It's just looking for input, right? So what you're doing is You're putting the input in a way just like, so like Pac-Man, like it can just go through. We already have that information. We already determined that the width, from the problem, we determined that the width is equal to 15. And we already determined that the length is equal to 27. You see, we already did the hard work. We also know something else, which is pretty cool. Yo, we know how to present it a different way, where the length is equal to the width plus 12. And that the parameter is equal to 4 times the width plus 24. And let's say we want to make more than one rectangle. So this, we're going to call this parameter 1 because the parameter represents a rectangle, right? At this point we know that the parameter represents a shape that has 4 sides. So let's call that parameter 1, aka rectangle 1, aka Johnny Blaze, aka. So then parameter 2, I just be pumping myself up when I write code. I mean, you know, code in the streets. I'm here, man. I'm on the trip. Plus, I got the Wu-Tang sword. So how you figure? Parameter 2. Parameter 2, another rectangle. If this rectangle is similar to the first rectangle in shape and in characteristics, is also equal to 4 times the width plus 24. Now, if you wanted the great thing about computers, is that it is remembering this information for this, for this, for this, if you want to do it that way, this, that way, this, that way. What you call these, those words, they're called identifiers. Just like your name, identifier. And what they identify is the values that we're putting in them. Maybe we're going too far. We're probably going too far. Let's not go that far. Cut. No, we're going to leave it. I believe it. This is the thing. It's going to be stream of consciousness. You're going to see how a programmer thinks and how I think on my road to becoming a programmer. And so there's another lesson, is to stop sometimes, right? So you start going down paths and you got to stop. You got to pause. You got to reassess. You got to think, what are you trying to present and why? What's the best way to get to that particular point? The point is, a computer is able to hold these values, store them, and then you can reuse them, just like here, just like here. You can reuse those values. It remembers the width. It remembers the width right here. It remembers the length. So it remembers how to create another rectangle by using 2 times the length plus 2 times the width plus 24. It remembers how to create. Oh, actually, no. Because we already created, yeah, the 24 is unnecessary. That's an error. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. There's different ways of viewing it, right? There's different ways of viewing it, all based on the fact that we've already, in the computer, placed the values in. So what does this have to do with writing code, finally? Yes, finally. Alright, so for your first lesson, what all is that everything that we just covered was logic. Everything that we covered was logic. And the reason that that's important is because at the end of the day, when you're writing code, there's only a couple things. Most of it is done away from the keyboard. It's done in your mind, coming up with solutions, mapping them out, just so you can write a piece of code. And that piece of code might be like something like this. You'd have like in the Matrix when they got the little cursor in the top just blinking, you know. Start out right here, right? And in that world, and where computers really started popping off, this little thing would move across the screen and put text. And so in that black box, and I don't know what page it was on. There you go. I may not know what page it was on, but I do have it on my phone. In that little box, the computer would talk to you, and it would ask you a question. It might ask you any question, and this computer says it likes riddles. It likes problems. So the computer says, if the perimeter of a rectangle is 84 feet, then what is the length and width I might just sit there, right? Like, you don't know this. You don't know this. What are you doing in this? You don't know this. A computer. And actually, no, what it would do, and all the computer guys are like, oh God, he doesn't know where the cursor goes. Oh, right. So it might come down here, right? And it's just waiting. Or it might say something like, enter well, that's a whole different lesson. But actually, you would have to solve the problem. You would have to solve, in the version that I'm presenting to you, you'd have to solve the math problem. And then it would say, enter the correct width. Enter the correct width. And then it performs its calculations, and then it says, you are a genius. Or it says, you are an ugly moron. Go die. And you don't want it to say that, right? So you want to get good at algorithms. Coded the streets. Coded the streets. No, I'm joking. But this is what I want to do, right? This is what I do. This is what I'm thinking about. I want to reach you motherfuckers, right? Good morning, Vietnam.